Hello and welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I'm Eva Maria, your Monday hostess. Unfortunately, once again, I'm posting late, but I'm sure you all don't mind. This week's topic is going to be movie witches that we love. And some of you might, some of you who have been kind of following us through season 4 and into season 5 may have noticed that in season 4, back in season 4, week 13, we covered a similar topic. That topic was Hollywood witches. But that topic, in actuality, was a bit broader because it allowed us the ability to cover more than just fictional characters, fictional witch characters in movies or TV that we happen to love or have something to say about. In my video for season 4, week 13, though, I took it in the direction of speaking on 3 fictional witches that I love, that I found to be inspirational, and I talked about how and why I found them to be inspirational. Now, obviously, this time around, this season, for this week, I am not going to be repeating myself. That would be really boring for all of you, as well as for me. But what I'm going to do is I will have that video linked in the description of this one. For those of you who may be newcomers to this channel, if you haven't seen that video, if you're interested in kind of checking out what I said in that video, you can, if you haven't seen it and you're interested in watching it, you can go down to the description of this video. You can click on that link and check that out. Now, this time around, because the topic is a little narrower, because it really is about movie witches that we love, I had to kind of rack my brain to think of who else besides the 3 I've mentioned before do I really personally, which ones readily come to mind, that really move me and all that. I can't remember every single movie I've ever seen that has had a witch in it, but there is one character that definitely did come to mind. So I'm only going to cover one character, and notice I'm saying character, and that's because of a cultural nuance, something that is actually very important that I would like to talk about before I get into this character. In certain cultures, the term witch is not seen as positive. There are magical practitioners that if you call them a witch, they will take offense to it. And this is something that I'm talking about in real life. The character that I'm going to speak on in this video is very realistic in that way, as well as in a few other ways. She identifies herself as a curandera, not as a bruja. That's because in certain cultures, the term witch is synonymous with negative practices. Even in my own background being Portuguese, when people speak about magical practitioners, they will speak about, for example, like mediums or spiritualists or people that do other sorts of things, maybe like card readers or something, versus bruxas. That nation has a very Catholic history, and the way that my parents grew up, it was very, very traditional, very conservative, very, again, Catholic. Well, from the stories and the things that I've heard from my mother, from older people that have lived in Portugal like back in the day, in that kind of time period, and probably before, I would think. The term bruxa has always been used synonymously with negative practitioners, people that do things to hurt other people. It's not the way that we identify with the term witch. You know, it's just not the same. It's not culturally the same context with that word, you know. And it may still, depending who you talk to, it may still be true. Same is true, or probably true in a lot of cases, in other countries with a very strong, like Catholic or Christian sort of history. Again, places like maybe Mexico or other places in South America, you know, certain places. If you use the term bruja, trying to ask them about like positive practitioners, some people will look at you like, what the hell are you talking about? That is negative. Why would you want to know about that? And they'll just be like, oh, I know nothing about that. I know nothing about that. You know, if you ask them for information on that sort of subject, because they don't call themselves that. They have other terminology that they identify with. So anyway, this character is a curandera. This character, she is very much similar to what we would view as a witch. You know, some might say it's just a matter of semantics. You know, she is a healer, she is a wise woman, she does spell work, she does positive things. She refers to her practice as her medicine at certain parts in the movie. She's very against being called a witch. It seems that it is definitely a derogatory term, and it is very much a term applied to those that do horrible things for selfish ends. And I'm not talking fluffy bunny stuff. It's just in certain cultures they just happen to see things a little differently. Here, where the term witch has been largely reclaimed, in the areas that we live where it has been largely reclaimed, there are some of us that feel, hey, do what you got to do. Sometimes you got to do negative in order to, in a sense, do positive in a greater, you know, for the greater good, sometimes you have to do something a little negative. Some of us see it that way. Some of us don't so much see like such a great delineation between positive and negative, but in certain cultures, overall, it's sort of like you're either more part of the solution or you're more part of the problem. And there are cultures that see those that identify with the term witch, they see them more as those that are more part of the problem than part of the solution. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, blah. So let me introduce you to this character who is just awesome beyond words.
Toma, bruja.
I am a curandera. Your daughters who are witches.
Now, before I get into speaking about Ultima herself, I do want to stop a moment and just share with you all that the movie Bless Me Ultima is actually based on a classic book, for those of you who may not know. Obviously, the book is by the same title, and the book was written by an acclaimed author by the name of Rodolfo Anaya. The book was originally copyrighted in 1972, so that gives you kind of like an idea of when it was probably written around. And it was first published by TQS Publications and later republished by Warner Books. But anyhow, being that usually books that movies are based upon are usually better than the movies themselves, and being that Bless Me Ultima as a movie was so amazing, I can only imagine how much more amazing the book probably is. I haven't personally read the book that this movie is based upon, but I'm just throwing it out there that this movie was based on a book because there might be some of you out there like myself who, after watching the movie and assuming you like it as much as I did, you might feel that you want to go and read the book. Also, I thought I would give you kind of a synopsis of what this story is about. Antonio Merez is 6 years old when Ultima comes to stay with his family in New Mexico. She is a curandera, one who cures with herbs and magic. Under her wise wing, Tony will probe the family ties that bind and rend him, and he will discover himself in the magical secrets of the pagan past, a mythic legacy as palpable as the Catholicism of Latin America. And at each life turn, there is Ultima, who delivered Tony into the world and will nurture the birth of his soul. Okay, so now that you know that this movie is based upon a book, and now that you have like the synopsis of the story, the gist of things, now I'm just going to tell you what endears me to Ultima, why I love her so much. What I love about Ultima is that she is the kind of magical and spiritual practitioner that I hope to one day become. She's an amazing and powerful crone who knows her craft, and she serves her community both responsibly and with purpose. She's respected and sought for her wisdom, and with her gifts, she does great things. She's the sort of woman that I imagine that the avó do meu avô was probably like. Avó do meu avô means grandmother of my grandfather.
They stole his soul. We must get it back.
I will go, but you must understand that when one tampers with the fate of a man, a chain of events is set in motion that no one can control.
Another awesome thing about Ultima is that she takes no shit. She doesn't back down. She knows that she is justified in her ways when she is confronted with evil. She knows her hands are clean. She knows that the truth is on her side.
Who is it accuses me?
I accuse you of being a witch!
I could probably go on for quite a while telling you about how awesome Ultima is. But I think what I've said up to this point pretty much gives you a good idea of the integrity this character has, and you know, just how much substance there is to her being, you know, and what she does. She's just immensely interesting and inspiring. So suffice it to say, this is a movie witch. I can't really call her witch. She's a movie curandera, a movie magical practitioner that I do love. And I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I hope you found it to be interesting. I do encourage you, definitely, if you get the chance, when you get the chance, check out the movie Bless Me Ultima. And if you are able to, hey, check out the book. I'm still yet to check out the book, but I'm going to read that book. And with that said, I'm going to wish you all blessed be and ashe. Stay tuned, check out everybody else's videos this week. I'm curious to hear who everyone else would talk about, who everyone else loves. And until next time, until our next exchange, you stay awesome, and bye-bye for now.